Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges. And today we are discussing the dual meet tournament announced at Georgia Tech that is coming in October of 2025. It will be an 8-team dual meet tournament featuring Georgia Tech, NC State, Auburn, Minnesota, Georgia, Army, Florida State, and George Washington. It is taking place on October 17th and 18th. It is a knockout style dual meet tournament where 7 dual meets will be contested throughout the competition. The first 4 being scored head to head between 2 teams. The winners of those meets will advance to round 2, where 2 more meets will be scored head to head, and the winners advancing to the final competition. With us today, we have Coach Chico from George Washington, Coach Iago from Georgia Tech, Coach Cauli from Wisconsin, and Coach Steve from Florida State. This is the brainchild behind this dual meet tournament. So I'm really excited to discuss the genesis of this project, what it's going to look like in October, and the potential for what it could look like moving forward. This episode of the SwimSwam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, SwimSwam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com. So guys, thank you so much for sitting down, taking the time to talk about this very exciting new meet format. Chico, you reached out to me. Really appreciate that because now we get to hear a little more of the ins and outs of this. So I'm going to start with you. Just first, tell me a little bit about how this came to be and what you guys' process was for organizing this meet, which again is ultimately going to take place this October in the 2025-26 NCAA season.
Cool, Colin. First, thank you very much for having us in here. We're excited about this because it's truly like an idea jumping out of a paper. So thank you very much for having us and be willing to listen and see what came out of all of this. So basically, and I have a screenshot of it because on December 22nd, we were on a group discussion with a couple of coaches where Cauli and Steve are also part of. And we were talking about how the dual meets, the importance of it and whatnot. And then Cauli sent a message about making something similar to baseball. And I sent a message about a possible format in a larger venue or something like that. So I think the day after or whatnot, I gave Cauli a call and then start having this conversation about it and then what we would how this could look like and that type of stuff. And then we talk about specifically about Georgia Tech because one is a very large venue, can run 2 pools at the same time. And Atlanta, it's a very, very, very strong swim community, all across between clubs and summer league and everything around there. So it would be in a position that most likely would bring a lot of people to watch it. And then, the initial idea started from there, and then I reached out to Iago, and then we started talking about it because they were having a couple ideas in terms of bringing more invites to Georgia Tech to utilize the pool a little bit more. And it basically started from there. And then eventually, Cauli, Iago, and I had, I think 3 calls, and then knowing Steve has a pretty progressive brain and is someone that's always thinking way outside of the box. We brought him in because his ideas are always brilliant. And then I think might have been mid-January, late January, I think Steve got in with us. And then we drafted the format and the meeting information and everything that we can talk more about it throughout this conversation.
Yeah.
And reaching out to teams and all of that. So this was kind of the kickstart of it, from December 22nd to where we are right now, how we developed everything.
Yeah, Cauli, just any thoughts to add or anything about what excited you about this project just in the very beginning when talking with Chico?
I feel a lot of us are frustrated with the current format of swimming. We want to bring more excitement to the sport, and we see other sports doing it. And it was basically, how can we do a fan-friendly format with a lot of excitement, a lot of action at a short period of time? And that's basically how we got to it. And here we are. And it's actually very exciting to be talking to you about this idea because we really believe, is a format that can be replicated anywhere in the most places in the country. So we hope that we can bring excitement to college swimming and diving all over America.
Steve, when you got looped into this in mid to late January, what did you want to add or make sure that you brought to this, or just see out of this competition?
I think it was a lot of it was, as Collie said, just excitement and doing something different. Swimming is a sport that's really just been stuck in this is how we do things. And how is it consumable, and how is it a product that we can market better, market it for streaming, market it for TV, market it for fans. So like my biggest thing was, if we're going to do this, we need to make it a way that someone who knows nothing about swimming, who's like walking by the facility or walking into the facility, is like, oh, this is exciting. This is fun. Like I want to get in and do it. You don't necessarily need to be an avid fan of swimming, but just any person walking off the street can just see like this is exciting, even if it's for 10 minutes. To be able to watch it.
Okay, that brings me to first question. If someone wants to come see this, do you have certain times yet that it will be taking place throughout that 17th, 18th day? And tickets. Will there be tickets? Will it be stream? I'm guessing streaming you're probably working on yet, but how much will it be? And yeah, who can come and how can you watch it?
You want
Iago?
me to
Yeah.
say that? Yeah, I can. So the final will be on Saturday, October 18 at 2 p.m. I think that's like the most exciting one, and everything's gonna start on the day before at 7:30, and we're gonna have two dual meets starting at that time, and then 3 hours later we're gonna have two more dual meets, and everybody's gonna come back to the pool in the afternoon at 2 p.m. So if you swim at 7:30, you're gonna come back at 2 p.m. and do your warm up. Start a meet at 3, and that dual meet's gonna finish at 4:30. So that's the first wave. That's how we call it, wave. And for the people that start at 7:30, and then for the people that start at 10:30, which is the second wave, they're gonna finish at 1, and they start at 6 p.m. in the afternoon. So it's like everybody has enough time to rest, go back to the hotel. It's similar to like a prelims final type of thing, but in the morning's a final, in the afternoon it's the final again.
Yeah.
Because if you don't win, you're not in the next phase. You're not gonna swim at the final. You're out.
Yeah. I like it.
So,
Chico.
and for a little clarification, kind of like as it is a knockout style, but we are doing a losers bracket. Just a couple of the ideas in the beginning was like, we would not want to make people commit to like a this long, right, of a meet, like with this many teams, and just get one swim out of it and have to get out. So there will be like, we're gonna go. There will be 4 dual meets in the morning, which is your quarterfinals type of style, right?
Yeah.
And then the semifinals, and that with the losers bracket. The next morning, it would be like the dispute between 8th through 4th, right, in 2 different dual meets,
Okay.
and then one separately for third and fourth, and then once the final session alone for first and second. So each team gonna get to swim 3 times. So yeah. So, but it is a different format. So we are not swimming a full dual meet schedule. So there was a big change to it because what we want is from meet start to end cannot be more than an hour and a half. With a 10-minute half time, that's what we're calling.
Okay.
So, and there's 4 different formats to it, like, because one of the things that we want to try to create some excitement. Every round will be picked out of a head with a certain anticipation, so people will know what you're going to be doing on every round. but every round will be a different sequence of events.
Okay.
So, and basically the changes are like the relays is either 200, 400 free, 200, 400 medley, and it can change.
Mhm.
And the stroke events is either 100 or 200s. So
Okay.
we either gonna go 100 back, 100 free, 2 back, 2 brass, or 2
Okay.
back, 2 free, 100 brass, 100 fly.
Uh-huh.
And after the halftime, it's 5 free, 50 free, 2 IM. That's it. So
Okay.
first half relay, one event of each stroke, halftime, 5 free, 50 free, 2 IM, last relay, that's it. And diving happens simultaneously on a different format as well.
Okay. Whoo! Yes. I mean, I'm excited.
And diving actually, I think, is going to be cool because they're doing a little bit more like team style, and it's going to be like
Okay.
3 dives, but doing something outside of the box for diving too that can be really quick. I mean, their sport's so exciting and made for TV and instant impact that doing something outside of the box for them too was something that we were excited about.
Okay. Awesome. And Steve, I think you mentioned this off camera. Someone did. Men and women combined scoring.
Yeah, I
Cauli,
said
yeah.
that, and I think that is one of the coolest things that we have on this dual meet tournament. And every time that I mention to another coach, there's a lot of excitement. And we have men's conference championships, women's conference championships, and NCAA's. And to my knowledge, and I've been coaching college in all 3 divisions since 2010, it is the first time that we are going to have a combined score. So it's not. It's going to be the men and women of a program that is going to win those races. And I think it just gets everybody even more engaged on everybody else's swim. Every swim counts, every dive counts.
Yeah.
So we are very excited about that.
Yeah. So, and I mean, we've been seeing a lot more dual meets that kind of switch up these formats, have different formats. We've seen UVA and Texas do super finals. I just thought of this. I think the UVA Texas dual meet last year had a combined score. But obviously this is a way more teams, way different format. So it seems like we've been building up to something like this. Certainly this has been an idea that's been kind of floated throughout certain circles for a while. But wow, this sounds really fun. So a couple clarifications just on the format side. So no 1,000, right, or mile. It's sad for distance swimmers, but I think it's absolutely necessary. And again, to make this fan friendly, viewer friendly, I think that is a smart move. But there's going to be so much swimming and so much different swimming packed into these compact hour-and-a-half sessions. Will there be tickets or can people just come in? Do you know this piece yet, Iago?
That's me. We don't have that yet. It's going to be something that we're talking. There's a lot of conversations happening in the background of it, so we don't have an answer for that. But we definitely want to pack the stands at Georgia Tech. That's our goal. We want people watching swimming. We want the athletes excited to perform in front of people, because that's what they do, and that's when we get the best results. Like that, that's the competing, racing with people watching you, and that's all we want.
Yeah. Maybe another question for you or for someone else. So roster sizes, how many athletes will each team have?
Yeah, that's a
good one. So
Chico said, right?
To give a little bit of like on the genesis of it, right? Initially, we want a very diminished roster size, and we were to run basically 6 lanes only on the pool, because the initial idea was like, how can we present a format that any pool in the country can run? Like anywhere, like any school, like if you want to go to a style that it is, and what we use as example, like when Georgia Tech volleyball qualified as number 1 on one of the NCAA appearance that they had, they were the host for the first rounds of NCAAs. And O'Keefe gym is like seats maybe 800 people. So it's a very small gym but they pack that up. So for us, it's like if we go to a possible dual meet format in the future, they're like there will be smaller schools that make to the tournament and want to host it. Or can we run with just 3 lanes, like a 3v3 type of thing? So that was the initial idea, and then we had to get to a point that would be only 13 15 athletes, 13 swimmers and two divers, if I was not wrong. And then that was too radical of a change. And then some people asked us to kind of like, hey, open up and whatnot. So what we decided in the format that we're going into, you can bring your entire roster, but per match you only swim 15 and dive 2. So yes, and every swimmer can only swim 3 events, regardless of what it is.
Individual and relay combined. They can only swim 3 times.
3 times per match. Yeah. So you're going to have benchers, right? Like what every other sport does. So, and that's kind of like the idea of it. Because a great part of our conversations in the beginning of the development of this is like, for the layman, right? For the person that doesn't understand swimming, how can we somewhat bring it closer to it? So there is a halftime, there is the bench, there is kind of like that position that like that you can create type of thing. So that's kind of like what we were trying to get with, and then ended up coming on this format. So per match, 15 swimmers, 2 divers, but everybody can bring the entire roster that they want if they want. And the scoring is a little bit different too, in a way that like I don't know if anybody else, because like I'll be honest, like my memory cannot go that far back on the scoring how we're going to look like, but.
The scoring is going to be crazy because it's going to be a lot higher than what we're used to. But one of the things is we wanted every swim to count. Like, so there, we went back and forth with a lot of different things. So for me, it was like, I remember swimming once at Ohio State and we went 10 lanes across, but it was so like, you're always drawn to the middle where the best swimmers are. So what is it like with the outside? So that's also where the 6 lanes started. But then, the other side of that is, controversy and creating, people talking about something. So if everything counts for points and you have to put in someone in the 200 fly, even though you don't have butterflyers, they go 4 minutes and they finish and they get points. And like, it's just going to create a talking point. So some of those things, were things that we talked about in terms of that. But adding value to, once you're in the pool, there are no exhibition swims. And like right now, even if you go 8 lanes, you're only scoring 1 through 5. So everything's got a point. Everything's got a value to it. With that, and then Chico has also brought up like coaching decisions. You can only pick 13 or 15. So are you sitting someone out so they're fresh for one of the sessions? Maybe depending on your draw and who you're swimming against, you can kind of pick and choose, and maybe you win a meet, maybe you lose a meet. But there's so many talking points about, well, the coach should have done this in basketball, the coach should have done this in baseball. Can we put that into swimming just to create energy and excitement around it?
Load management. Yeah, I love it. Do you remember the scoring system?
I have it. I have it right here in front of me.
Okay. Iago's got it.
The relay and diving is going to be scored together, like the same amount. So if you win a diving event, it's going to be 22 points. If you win a relay, it's 22 points. If you win a swim event, it's 16. And on the swimming event, it's going to go 16, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So it's a total of 37 points on each race. And if you win the race,
8 lanes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you win the race and that's your best results, like your guy won the race and they got like 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, you're still gonna win that race by 1 point. That's something that we kept in mind. So if you win, you win. Like that. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
So basically, when we got to that scoring, and now like people who are looking, it's like what is this, like 16-6 or something? It was basically for that, because like what we don't want to run away is the essence of the sport, right? Because like swimming is like on the essence of the sport in the beginning is like, I bet you cannot cross the pool faster than me. So whoever touched first deserves the win, because that's the essence of the sport. So we thought about some different formats of like, but if a team wins the race, like that should be accounted as like you are ahead. So we are not prioritizing kind of like depth that much, but it's more kind of like, yes, who has the stud that can win all the races here. So that's basically what it is. Because like, and this is the other thing that like, in talking about like every points count and whatever, one of the things that we would like and trying to showcase this a little bit is making times a little bit irrelevant, because we get too attached to times, which, and frankly honest, it's only a matter for us swimming, and then it's
Right.
times in swimming are so like that is weak to the point that like if you get a foreigner that comes to swimming yards, they have no understanding of what the timing yard is. So that's how we kind of like the measurement times is. Although like we all love it, right? We want to see like the 17s of the 50 freestyles and the 20 points for the ladies and all of that. But in the essence of the sport is like, can you cross the pool faster than me? And that's basically what we want to try to make it happen.
Another thing that we are trying to do as well to simplify to the non-swimming fan that wants to come in and watch, which would be, hey, we know exactly how many points you need to win this match. So it is not the score is this and that. It is the race to the points to win the match is on, and whoever crosses that line first will win the match, right? So we want to make sure that it's easier for people to follow, because you're in NCAA's, we're a conference meet. There's a list of 50 teams with random numbers, and it's kind of okay, I know that somebody's ahead, but what it takes for the other person to overtake. So at the end of every race, you have that updating of the race to the finish line is out there.
Yeah, I love that. Do you have that number off the top of your head? If not, that's
Iago.
fine.
Iago,
396. 396. The total
39.
points is 790. So if you score 396, you win.
Amazing. Okay. Iago, another question for you in terms of scoring. Relays, how many in a relay event, like 200 free relay, how many relay teams will each team have?
So 2 teams for each school. So you can score to, if you go first, 22. If you go second, 8. If you go third, 4.
Okay. And if you go fourth, 0?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. So a lot of really fun scoring parity here. I love that. I'm just trying. Oh, so in terms of event lineup, I know you said so it'll be either 100, two 100s, two 200s of any given stroke. How is that? And you said pulling out of a hat. Can you tell me a little bit more specifically how that will work? For any given match or on the day of. Chico,
Who's going to take it? Yeah. So what we probably we're gonna decide on it is to facilitate. This is kind of like the first trial run on this. Yeah. We're gonna draw it before, right? So people kind of like will know going into the next round if the advance to this is gonna be that, if the advance to this is gonna be X. So we're gonna draw it a little bit for probably most likely when we draw the matches, because like we still don't know what the first round gonna look like. So yeah, and then that's just something that like, and frankly, honest, Coleman, like we haven't sat down with all the coaches that are going to participate to kind of like line up all of the like this like what the logistics on that side going to look like. But the idea is that like is to create like you have to know if you go in this direction or that direction, what are the decisions that you're going to have to make. So that's basically what it is.
And I'm assuming a team will get the event lineup and then set their roster?
Yes.
Okay. And for the championship, the one at the end at 2 p.m. on Saturday, the final round, will that also be kind of just half of the events, or will it randomized as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I think that is pretty much all the formatting questions I have. Roster size, all the rounds, timing, points. Okay, awesome. I'm stoked. I mean, this sounds really fun. I just want to say I really appreciate you guys putting in so much time and effort to making this to trying this out, to making this something fun, to making it a cool product. And you guys don't know how it's going to go. We don't know how it's
Mhm.
going to go, but I'm really excited to see something new and to see something get tried out and see how it works. I think that's a big part of swimming as a sport, right? Is trying new things, seeing how it goes, and then taking it from there. So
Mhm.
shout out to you guys for putting this together, for putting so much time and thought into how it's going to look and even the ethos of it, why you want it to look the way that it does. Um,
Mhm.
so then let's talk kind of getting it together. You have these 8 teams. Once again, just for our listeners, the 8 teams that will be participating in this: Georgia Tech, NC State, Auburn, Minnesota, Georgia, Army, Florida State, and George Washington. How did these 8 teams come together, and how did you go about trying to get certain teams into? Notably, obviously, this one, Cauli, you're with us today. You're at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not a lot participating in this, but how did the process of recruiting teams go?
Uh, I'll take this because we wanted to be in. And as you can imagine, when you get together in December of the year before, there are a lot of schedules that have been set for the following season. And that's exactly where we ran into a situation in Madison where we had a third leg of a tri-meet set up with Michigan and Notre Dame. And it's just very incredibly difficult to make those changes. And even though I realized that I would not be on deck for it, I thought, hey, the idea is really good. Got to get behind it. So I know I had Zoom calls with staffs across the country. I know that all of us did. We were recruiting on conference, we were recruiting at NCAAs just to get people to buy into the idea. Just go into the coach and say, hey, we have this idea. What do you think about it? I'll send you the meat packet information that we have. Let me know if you have any questions. And a lot of people ran into the situation of, I love the idea. I want to participate. And I already have a mutual schedule set up that day does not allow me to go. And
Mhm.
so that's why we wanted to make something that is going to happen this October and also set up a blueprint where that can be utilized other places as well.
Mhm. Uh, t- Chico?
Yeah, no, and there was part of it too. There was kind of like we knew there was a couple teams that had an interest to come and swim at Georgia Tech because of the NCAA's. It's gonna be
Yeah.
there, so they wanted to come and splash there or whatever there was. So I know Minnesota was one, NC State was one, and then like we did use the people there like know us and respect us to kind of like that would put their ears. So it's like, hey, what is it that you're doing? And then you kind of, oh, this is the idea, and people like that's kind of cool. We're like, all right, come on in. That's basically kind of like how we ran with some of them. But that was basically, and then frankly honest, Colin, like the last team, it was something kind of like we were like talking to so many people. Okay, was the 8th team came basically kind of like right through men's NCAA's and after. And then we were talking to so many, and by the end it was like, who says yes first? And then Brent was like, man, I like the idea. Let's make it happen. Sure, cool. And that was it. We finalized the team that way.
That's yeah, I'm glad that so many teams showed interest. Obviously, yeah, as you said, Kali, some teams are already, their schedules are already set. They already have other commitments. And then, but yeah, I love that it's at Georgia Tech. Iago, was it easy to get the pool itself, the facility on board, as well as the team for this event, especially knowing that it's going to be hosting a lot of other big meets that year, least of which is the NCAA championships for both men and women.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. They because they host so many big events there. They have the high school state there, summer leagues, like all the big events happen at that pool. They know how to host things like that. So
Mhm.
it was just like talking to them, and our head coach John, like he loved it. He was like, yeah, let's do it. He gave me all the freedom to talk to the staff, talk to our administration, the CRC administration. They were like, yeah, let's do it. Like were excited about it. It's not just the coaches, the athletes, like the people that work, the like the timing system people, everybody was like, yeah, let's do it. Like that was my first thing. Like, wasn't even the facility. I was like, can we run something like this? I talked to Frankie. I was like, Chico was like, yeah, go talk to Frankie. He's in Atlanta. talked to Frankie, which is like the guy that run like the timing and everything, and Frankie was like, "I love the idea. Like, yes, we can do it." So, answer your question, yes, it wasn't a super challenging thing.
Yeah, it was smooth sailing with Georgia Tech, which makes sense. Again, they host a lot of big events. It seems like they support a lot of big events and big ideas. So now we're looking at this meet. We have it marked on our calendars. In terms of preparing athletes, what I like about the development of an NCAA season is that it seems like more and more dual meets are starting to matter, right? We have mid-season, we have conference, we have NCAAs for the athletes that go to it. But now we have also, either rivalry meets or January dual meets where people are swimming the fastest times of the season sometimes. People are figuring out how to go faster and faster throughout the NCAA season, so we don't just have these dual meets in mid-October that are like, nah, whatever. Like they don't seem to matter much, and this seems to be another point on that roadmap that might have a little more significance. So as your wheels are starting to turn now, how are you going to prepare athletes for this, especially not knowing who might swim or what events they might be getting into? Just how are you, as coaches, how are you thinking you are going to approach this meet, especially knowing that 3 or 4 weeks later you might have a midseason meet that might have a completely different goal, right, or purpose behind it, or preparation behind it?
I think I can speak a little bit to it. Like, what we want is like for people to it's every swimmer going to have a max of like 9 splashes, right, throughout the weekend, and on spans of an hour and a half, which is might be not different like than any other practice. But
Yeah.
I think the perspective of it, again, if you go back to the essence of it, right, that like it's a preparation to just race, which the times will matter because the meet will be all the meets will be valid, so you can probably qualify for NCAAs after that if you swim that fast. But for the format of the tournament itself, like it's basically like get your hand on the wall, like let's win this thing. So hopefully there will be something that will drive people to go a little bit forward. If the teams that are there wanted to run over and train extremely hard going up to it, it's like it's up to them. But there is like a possibility that you can, because you're gonna have like a morning session, afternoon session, and a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So you prepare like you would to perform in that span of things, because like I don't know if it's called Iago said, it's kind of like more like a prelims and finals type of thing. You're gonna have to swim fast consecutively so you can like keep advancing on the format. So, and also might be a matter of people learning how to manage for real. Like if it is someone that have like a super advantage on X event, like yeah, maybe you can save up and just get the points, like you still win, because again, like the goal is like you gotta touch the wall first. So in terms of the preparation for that, and mid-October is a good position because that's when things get hard for everybody. So everybody calls it the Rocktober, right, or whatnot. So it's a thing that like if we want to pile up that amount of efforts like in a weekend, like there's plenty of teams that already do that just as part of their season, and now you're doing on a realistic competitive environment that you can not only take the physiological benefit of racing plus the psychological benefit of racing. So that's basically my take on it. So
Any other thoughts on that? Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, going back to the point about winning. I think that becomes big, especially knowing like if you win, you're going on to the next round. You're staying in that championship segment versus going into the other bracket where it's like your time is irrelevant. If you go a bad time and you get third place, you're happy that you beat fourth place. Versus I know I think it was Dan Gable was a wrestling coach at Iowa, but his granddaughter swam and he was at a meet once and he was like, that person just got 5th place. Why are they celebrating? Like, what are they happy about? If it's because they went at best time, but like, so again, getting that casual fan, and for us as swimmers to get away from the time aspect and be like, this is about winning. This is about getting your hand on the wall, for the person next to you to move on. So I think that helps us as a sport really move forward. And so I think that's what we're really looking forward to is like, yeah, be at your best. Maybe you're not, but you got to be ready in the morning. You got to be ready at night, whenever it is, to really just beat your competition and not worry about the time.
Mm-hmm.
And for the kids, there is a level of excitement that they're not used to have at this time of the season as well. Everybody's
Mhm.
basically used to go through the same old format of dual meets and maybe getting ready to a breather before mid-season meet. Hey, now this is for keeps. This is for real, and you got to dig deep. And you're unlikely that you're going to be at tip-top shape in the middle of October, but it is a great opportunity. Can you race tired? And I think that is a great skill to have at our sport. Are you able to race well? Are you able to execute your race well, regardless of how you're feeling? And can you do that 9 times in about 24 hours? I think that's really cool as well. Gives them a motivation to go. It's not like to Steve's point, hey, I can go here, and if I get a best time, it's gonna be fine. No, we're focused at a different element now. We want you to beat the person next to you. And I don't think that we do enough of that in swimming.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Again, and you go to big meets, right? World Championships, Olympics. That's the name of the game, right? It's like world records are cool, best times are cool, but people don't know. People are going to remember who won a gold medal or who
Mhm.
won any medal. So really exciting to see how this pop off, how it goes, what it looks like, and then just to kind of wrap up our conversation, looking to the future. And you guys have, again, I really appreciate you guys have already thought about this and put serious effort into making this something sustainable, and something that anyone can recreate or play with and tinker with and do at whatever kind of aquatic facility they have. But moving forward, and this is just kind of on a personal note, your thoughts as a fan of the sport, as a coach, as a participant, uh, how do you see this format moving forward, especially in terms of on the national level, perhaps having a dual meet championship, whether that would replace NCAA's, whether that would be complementary to it, whether it would be at the end of the season, whether it would be in the middle of the season. This is something, again, that's kind of been floated. And especially with the state that college swimming is in right now, I think a lot of coaches are looking for more of a sweeping change into the format of the season. How do you think this could evolve into something where you have more than 8 teams participating and, not only some of the top teams, but all of the top teams?
Mhm. Uh, I can speak to it like a bit, and then and truly on my personal opinion. I think this is like not much different than some of the formats from the competitive teams, like the competitive sports that are out there, like a volleyball, basketball, and that kind of stuff. It can evolve that way. And then speaking as a foreigner, seeing swimming elsewhere, right? The U.S. and the collegiate system is the only place that we can create something like that, because you have enough athletes and enough teams that you can truly put a championship on that format. Like, I mean, it's there's a lot of Division 1 teams out there that people don't even know they exist, that kind of
Mhm.
like become a Cinderella story one day. So, and the main thing for us on this, yes, and we talk all the way like, right, dreaming about it, and this become like a 64 format, like a team format, championship style, like basketball and volleyball are of itself. But yes, it will require a lot of change. The swimming community is very difficult to accept change. So as we know, for a many different reasons. But I think one thing that this format creates, and the initiative, is taken out of inertia. Like, as everybody say, like, oh, let's do something, let's do something, let's do something. The next season start, and then, oh, maybe next season, maybe next season. And now we got to a position like, you know what? yeah, let's do it, and boom, let's make it happen. And, oh, it's happening, and then put it out there, and then there's a lot of steam, a lot of traction, all of that. So it seems cool in that sense. So yes, on the ideal world is like, and this is another thing that we want to is kind of like let people poke holes, man. Like we want to know what's not working on this, like, and we know this is not perfect. We know this is not the format to be end of be all, but it is something that kind of like, all right, now there's a perspective here out of the paper, because I know many coaches out there had ideas like this and in very different ways and formats. But like now we're seeing it happen, is not only on someone's brain, we're seeing actually in action. It might be very crappy, we don't know, and there's a lot of things to make it better. But it might be awesome, and people are like, man, let's move forward with this, So I think that the main goal for this to move forward with the future is like get out of inertia, like keep it rolling,
Yeah.
and then let it work or not, so we can find something that's different that pick ups in a way that kind of like, all right, we can run the sport this way, and then it might be different than what it is on your regular World Aquatics and IOC meets, like what are the Olympics and all of that. But like, there's plenty of sports out there in this country specific that run different than that. And matter of fact, like the most popular sports on this country are not Olympic sports. So and football and baseball is now back in, but like they were not. So so like that's the type of stuff that like we can maybe move away from that format and not jeopardize the Olympic movement, because the U.S. is good enough in swimming. There's plenty of people here that we still going to be like able to hit it hard when they get there. But there is a possibility for the swimming community and for the sport of swimming itself to attract a little bit more viewership here and there, and to become more excited, like to what it is on its essence. So,
Yeah, I think there's a few things that kind of personally I've thought about with it, and like the one is there a dual meet tournament weekend where maybe it starts out like this weekend in October, we have one on the West Coast, you have one in Central Time Zone, you have one on the East, and maybe that's your regional, and then in November there's a super regional, in December there's a championship where you're just filtering teams in, or is it more like a the Triple Crown in horse racing, or is it more like a Grand Slam? Some of those type events where you can get that, and how can we get sponsors involved? How can we get other things involved? For me, like I'm a horse racing fan. Like, can FanDuel's get in on this? Like, can DraftKings get in on this? Like, those were things that we're trying to think of. Like, how does this evolve to get more people excited in the sport in a place that's consumable, but having everyone be on board and be able to recreate it at different times.
Mm-hmm.
And those are not necessarily mutually exclusive, right? There is value on the ALR championship that we run. Can it get better? Absolutely. But if we don't have to come in as the replacement for that format, those can be concurrent. And there's enough months in a season where we can run dual meet tournaments around the country, get excited about it, and have an end of the season tournament as well. Because to Chico's point, World Championships, Olympic trials, and the Olympics are still run on a large format with prelims, semis, and finals. But we want to have something that is viewer friendly, like Steve said. That can we get the betting into it, because that's where the money is as well. So it's just another avenue of possibility for us to keep our sport alive on this ever changing college athletic scenario.
Once again, really appreciate how much thought, effort, time you guys have put into this project. Really excited to see where it goes. Chico, I want to emphasize the point that you brought up, that this doesn't seem like it would take away from the Olympic movement, from long course racing. And in my mind, it would certainly add to it, and complement it in a very big way, bring more eyes to the sport outside of an Olympic year. So really exciting. Thank you guys again for sitting down to dissect this, break it down. Now that I have a full understanding of how it's going to work, I'm really excited to see how this is going to go, how it's going to evolve. And again, as you said, Chico, maybe it'll be crappy, maybe it'll be great, but like either way, we'll get to see it. It's not
Mhm.
just in someone's head. We'll get to see it. We'll get to see how it goes. And hopefully we'll get to move forward with it. So once again, thank you guys so much. And again, for you swimming fans, for you non-swimming fans, October 17th and 18th, dual meet tournament at Georgia Tech. We will see you there. You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.